Good morning. Better yet, wakey. In fact, Cockerel Doodle Doo to you all. I'm back once again with a dear friend of mine, Ian, to talk all things Tottenham. And we're hoping when he goes on a rant, if he goes on a rant, his Wi-Fi doesn't pack in. So first of all, Ian, how you doing?
Good. All good today. Thanks, Brian.
Good. So let's get into what we're going to discuss. And let's do that right now.
Tottenham on tour.
Okay, first of all, Ian, I haven't even seen you since the weekend. We've spoken. How have you been, buddy?
Yeah, good. All good. Thankfully, I missed the game.
Yeah, mate, do you know what? I was going to go in, but then I realised it was my nephew's birthday. And it was my nephew's 5th birthday. And for the previous 4 birthdays, I've been in Toronto. So it was going to watch that or go and spend the day with my nephew.
Good choice anyway.
Perfect choice. Wins every
Good
single
choice
time.
anyway. We had a wedding that was that starts at 5:15. So I spent the afternoon listening on TalkSport.
You should thank the bride and groom, not just for a great night, but for getting you out of that. But we're going to talk about beforehand, because I was there beforehand, because as you know, I make sure I'm at all these to support all the great people that we do this with. And a picture emerged today in the Sun newspaper that the protests have again got media attention now for a very small group of apparently 10 to 20 people that aren't getting their voices heard, that aren't doing anything good. We're certainly getting heard, aren't we, Ed?
Yeah, that's good. Listen, it'll keep going. It'll get bigger and bigger. I think, unfortunately, as the results get worse and worse, and people start waking up to what's been going on at Spurs now for many years.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, you and me are very vocal about where we stand on this. As I said to you just before, the numbers, I'll be honest, the numbers weren't great again, but they don't seem to be. But like you said, it's now, if you look at it, now it's everywhere, isn't it? It's in the media, written and social, television, all the YouTube channels, the Twitter. It's just dominating, isn't it?
Yeah. And it'll only get bigger.
Exactly. The thing I would say, which because one thing you will remember a lot clearer than me, because I caught the tail end of it when we were protesting against sugar. What was I? 2000. So I was 21. Just get there, but I wasn't the kind of person I am today. I was a very, very quiet, shy person. Wanted sugar out, but didn't go full hog. But that obviously we didn't have social media then, so everything was done together there. I actually thought social media would be a great help. It's raising the profile, but I thought it'd be a great help to get more people. But sugar, there was thousands, wasn't there?
There were thousands. What you had the Tottenham Action Group.
Yep.
And one or two guys brought all the groups together, and one of the chaps had contacts in the press association. So everything that was going on got out through the press, through into the media through that route. And they just, they were outside Sugar's house. They were outside. You have 5,000 outside the main gates after every match, and it was very well coordinated. And I think that's the only way. I'm not saying anybody should be outside anybody's houses.
Yep.
I think come match day, I think the fans are very passive regarding what's been going on. I think people are waking up. I think the board have been very clever, the way they've manipulated situations. But now, people can see there is no direction, there's no strategy, there's no winning culture at the club, no winning mentality. And this thing will get bigger.
Yeah, and I've got. I mean, we were talking behind the scenes. If we lose to Newcastle, which, in all honesty, I said before, I think we will. I think we might get a spanking, especially after losing to Villa. Newcastle winning retribution and to get their top 4 chance over the line. I think that Manchester United game could be worse than what we saw last time we protested at Manchester United.
I'm struggling to see where we're going to win a game this season. Maybe Palace, possibly Brentford. Can't see much else though. I can't see too many points coming through. For the last 7 games, it's going to be difficult. So you can see Liverpool, Brighton, and Villa definitely catching us.
Yeah.
So we're going to finish 7th or 8th.
Well, you look at it. We've got to go to those places, haven't we? We've got to go to Villa. We've got to go to Liverpool. We've got to go to Newcastle. I think you're right at the moment with the way this is. And mate, do you know
It's
what?
not good.
Palace at the moment are flying under Roy.
Yeah, I think is it last 3 games they've won under him. So
yeah,
it's difficult, and we've got loads of injuries in key positions.
Yep.
So it's not good. It's not good.
No, it's not. Do you know what? I just want to take this opportunity as well and just say it's incredible to think that Billy Khan, someone that you know very, very well, obviously, put the Sun picture up today on our social media saying, do you know what? Fair play. And do you know what? To everyone that's been part of it, every single, and there's loads of us, whether it be the training ground, whether it be outside the club shop, opposite the club shop, sorry, whether it be social media, we literally have started to make that impression. I just don't get. I said at the time, I thought it wouldn't take long. People to go, oh look, there's only 10 of you, and I'm like, well, if there's only 10 of us, surely that's better or even more achievement because. But there's just, I just feel, do you know what? Since New Year with the Villa defeat, it's just been. I think over all the other years, this year's different. I think Crystal Palace, I was at that game. It really got going. Fulham away, I wasn't at, but you were, and it was incredible. Yes, we went on a bit of a run where it went quiet, but now it's come back with a vengeance, hasn't it?
I think the key is, Brian, that you want people to feel this way whether we're winning or losing.
Yeah.
I think that's the key. And it goes quiet when we win and it gets noisier when we lose. And I think the ultimate test is if we're doing well, people still want them out because there's just no point having people in who are not committed to football and success.
Do you know what? A serious question now. Do you reckon, let's say we do lose to Newcastle, are we getting to the point like it was for Everton where Levy might be advised not to come to games?
No, don't think so.
You don't think so?
No, I don't see that. I don't see the Spurs fans being that aggressive the way the West Ham fans were a few years ago.
Yep.
The way the Everton fans are. I don't see it. It wouldn't be right anyway. And to be fair, you want him there, don't you?
Yeah, well, you're right, you do. But I mean, obviously, there's now talk of the mass boycott of the United game. I'm kind of torn with this because it's like, yes, it would be great to see empty seats, but we live in a world at a time right now where people may not be in a position to leave that seat empty and not be able to recuperate the money, which is totally and utterly understandable. And I think this may be one of our last televised games. So the noise, I think, is more important than the empty seats this time.
For sure. But I think it always is. I think the ground is where it's where you get your points across more than any other place.
You're right. And I'll tell you what, talking about that, we're talking about something in. I mean, obviously, we'll change the subject. Manager hunts. So,
could be anyone, couldn't it?
Oh, strap yourself in. This could be about a 3-week stream right now.
I think the bookies are going to make a fortune.
Oh, they are. You look at it today. Wasn't at work. I was working from home today. I saw a tweet saying that Poch isn't being considered, or words to that effect. Then out of the blue, we're looking to hijack Luis Enrique from Chelsea. Company, mate. Apparently, we're planning to arrange talks. It's like, just have the goddamn talks. Yeah. We're planning to think about having a meeting to discuss whether maybe he might want to be interested. I mean, Ian, I've said I think this managerial hunt, whoever it may be, and because of the situation we're now in and what we're hearing that people are really wising up to not wanting to work with Levy, I think the 75-day Nuno hunt could be a walk in the park.
Quite easily. It's if they're not going to go for Pochettino, who would walk in and probably, I'm sure, would take the job. God knows. Who knows who's going to be the manager? Haven't got a clue.
So, who's your number one pick?
Who would I pick? If I had a choice, I would probably go for Nagelsmann.
Okay.
I'd like to see him bring the brand of football, which means quick defenders as well. Defenders who are good on the ball. And that's where until we get that problem position sorted out, we're not going to move forward anyway.
Yep, you're right. You're right. And
The whole style of football is dependent on having a good back four or three, whichever.
Yep. It's good. It's good to know as well, Ian, that whilst we're still in this manager hunt, Dyer will be signing his contract, and apparently we're bidding for Madison, and apparently we've been rumoured to want to put loads of money down for Fatty in Barcelona. It's amazing how we can do these things without a manager, isn't it?
Well, listen, the owner knows best, doesn't he? He knows better than any other manager that he's had over the last 22 years. So you'd expect him to bring in some good players.
Do you know what? Something you and me would be that terminology. Just about hearing that just reminds me of something my late great uncle used to say when he used to go, "Oya, broch." This is what we're going for. I think I've been saying. I think after the shambolic season, I think we're in for the summer of disappointment. There's no rest for the Spurs fans, is there?
But every summer's a disappointment.
True.
Whenever we ever actually bought the right players that fit straight into the first team, never happens. Never happens.
Where is that?
So the first thing they've got to do is they've got to work out a strategy.
Yep.
The first thing. They've then got to bring in a manager, hopefully, who fits that strategy and will work with it.
Yep.
And then he's got to pick the players and sort out all the problem positions. It's a hell of a job.
Yep.
It's not a 5-minute thing. It's not just flicking over from one manager to another, with the established strategy in place. It's not that at all. It's a complete mess.
And don't forget, we're going to find out this week if Paratici is a done deal, like as in goodbye, see you later, ta-da.
That's Wednesday, isn't it?
Yep, we're going to find out if he's gone. Do we appoint someone before the end of the season or before July the 1st? Because July the 1st is the day that Scott Munn comes off gardening leave, which is the first day the players go back to training.
Yeah.
So we could have all of May and June looking for a manager that doesn't know who the director of football is and won't be able to do any transfers. It's good, isn't it?
I've got to say, I've just lost interest. I'm seriously losing interest, big time.
Yeah.
Not quite lost it. That's the wrong thing to say. But you look at it and you just think, there's no way this club's going forward under these owners. The way that the fans want the club to go forward. And again, I say that there's no entitlement, there's no guarantee that you're going to win trophies, but you just want to see good football, and at least the team competes for top players, and compete on the big stage.
You're right. And you look at this, like you said, the disconnect, I think, is a better word, isn't it? I mean, even during the time of Poch, when we were all going to White Hart Lane, I didn't get to go to. Saw us at Wembley a couple of times before I moved to Toronto, but I used to be going to White Hart Lane and just go, "We're winning today. We're winning today." And even though I was still leaving out, the connection and the camaraderie walking to the stadium, there was a buzz walking to the stadium.
The whole thing around the Pochettino was superb.
Yeah, and now, like literally, even when we're protesting outside, from about 1:30 onwards, you can hear a pin drop out there. There's thousands of people walking past, but there's nothing. To tell you the truth, this is how bad it was on the streets. We could hear the Spurs fans in the South Stand celebrating the Aston Villa goals as if they were standing outside. That's how dead.
That says it all, doesn't it? It says it all.
And the disconnect is...
there is no buzz. I think the problem has been you've had several years of bad football.
Yep.
And, fans, we are not professionals. The professionals are employed by the club. This is not our living. But fans can see what's going wrong. And you just think to yourself, well, the style of play isn't great. Try and change that.
Yep.
Which, in fairness, I think on Saturday he did. It was like from one extreme to the other. I think there were 5 forwards on the pitch at one time. But the problem is the players aren't good enough overall. And that's the problem. And I think the fans see the results, particularly to take the 5 results against five of the worst clubs in the Premier League since Leicester. Lost to Leicester, lost to Bournemouth, drew with Everton, lost to Wolves, and who else would the other draw against? It was Everton and Southampton.
Yes.
So out of those 5 games, you've got 2 points out of 15. And the fans are looking at that and they're seeing the style of play. And it's just knocking everybody for 6. It's killing enthusiasm. There's just nothing to look forward to. You win or lose. If a team come out and they're giving 100% and they're playing a decent style of football and they're having a go, you walk out the ground, you've been entertained. You might not be happy with the result, but at least you've had a fairly nice afternoon. There's nothing. There is absolutely nothing at the moment. So, and again,
you know what it is, Ian? It actually reminds me of like when you were walking to school as if you had a detention.
Yeah.
It's like, oh my God, why am I here? Oh my God, I don't want to be here. It's a Saturday. That's what it feels like around there right now.
It is. I've sort of been feeling that for the first time ever, and I've been following Spurs a long, long time. Always look forward to games at the weekend. You get in the car, you drive to the ground, and it's all, what rubbish you're going to watch today.
Well, that's a really, really good point, actually. In the whole time you have been supporting Spurs, forget the ownership and what's going on. Have you ever seen football, a sustained period of the football being this shambolic and dreadful?
Probably not a sustained period. There have been some really bad years.
Yeah.
There have been bad years. Funny, people talk about the 90s. But we won 2 trophies in the 90s.
Yep.
We reached semi-final in 93 and 95. You had the Klinsmann season, 94, 95. You had him come back for half a season in 97, 98. There were some bad years. The year we got relegated was appalling. It was dreadful. I was at Derby for an 8-2 defeat. I was at Man City for a 5-0 defeat. I think we lost 4-1 at Charlton. And the strange thing there, I think we had 24 shots and they had 5 that day. We ended up losing 4-1. It was crazy. But it was, I don't know. It was the football over the last 4 years. But the problem is I sympathise with Conte and Mourinho.
Of course.
But if you haven't got defenders who know what they're doing, and I take Romero out of that because I think he's terrific, and I think with proper defenders, he will go on to an even higher level, and the stupid mistakes will be cut out. But you can't play high press football with poor defenders.
Correct.
When you had Longley closing down and flying into an Everton player on the halfway line, got turned, pulled him down, got booked. The other way, that was exactly why you can't play a high press, because these guys just aren't good enough.
Yeah, and the racism.
So for the style of football, I think they're a bit hamstrung, the coaches, to a degree.
Ian, I couldn't agree with you more, because it's just getting bad. And when it's got to the point, I always think with the managers we've had as well, play to your strengths, and our strength has obviously been our front line. But we've got a goalkeeper that we can't trust with playing out from the back. That's causing issues on the defenders that can't defend. And it's like we are protecting our weakness rather than playing to our strength, isn't it?
Yeah. Not good. It's not a good scene.
It's not good. It's not good at all. But hopefully, things will start to improve. And I think we're ending there before we start getting depressed and need some spiritual help or something. But Ian, always
it is, isn't it?
It is, and Ian, it's always a pleasure to stream with you, be on space with you. Now, listen, everyone, his Twitter handle is right next to his name. He is one of the most knowledgeable, kindest, great guys to speak to about Spurs history, Spurs knowledge, and he is wonderful on the spaces. So everyone, check out his Twitter page. Give it a follow. You will not regret it. And Ian, I guess I will be seeing you. You're going to United match, aren't you?
Yes. Yeah.
So I'll
give him a chair for you Sunday as well.
Oh yeah, good. Oh, Newcastle. Are you going to Newcastle?
Yeah, we'll be up in the gods.
Oh God, are you staying overnight or are you coming back on the same day?
I'm up for the weekend.
Yeah, that's the best. So you going up Friday night or you going up Saturday?
Saturday morning till Monday.
Oh well, have a great mate. Newcastle is my favourite away day. I love Newcastle, and if I didn't have if it wasn't a Sunday,
Atmosphere's great.
oh, it's brilliant. It's brilliant, and in that ground now where they're going for Champions League and a celebration. Oh, I feel worried. But listen, get your comments and everything in the YouTube comments. I will respond to them. Like, comment, subscribe, and as always, Levy
Leave it out.
out. Well said, Ian.